today we're going to be doing a quick warm-up. To start, we're going to be doing just some side stretches. So arm up to the side. You can have your hips or your hands on your hips for support. Just doing a good side stretching, warming up that body. Alright, now we're going to move into cross arm swings. So you're going to bring your arms to the front, cross them, and then back. This will give you a deeper stretch. Warm up that back a little bit too. Keep those arms moving. This, you can just have your feet shoulder width apart. Now we're going to move into some overhead tricep stretches. And for this, you're going to just add some side steps. Get those legs moving. You're going to use your hand to pull your elbow down and get that nice stretch. And other arm, same thing. Make sure you're squeezing your core during all of these too. Alright, next we're going to move on to shoulder stretch. So you're going to have your arm across your body, other arm lifting it up and pulling. We're going to keep on with the side steps for this one too. This will just give your shoulder a good stretch. Alright, and other arm, same thing. Just pull to the point of where you can feel the stretch and it's not painful. Alright, now we're going to move on to a bicep and shoulder stretch. So your arms are going to link behind you. You're going to raise your arms up until you can feel that stretch. For these, we're going to be doing just front toe taps. If you can't raise your arms up that high, that's okay. Just to the point where you feel that stretch. Alright, now we're going to move on to some hamstring stretches. So you're going to straddle your legs a little more than shoulder width apart. Reach down to the middle. If you need to bend your legs, that's okay. We're just going to reach down. Try to get your hands flat if possible. And we're going to go over to the right side, same thing. Again, if you need to bend your knee, that's okay. And back to the middle. Now we're going to go to the left side, same thing. Just feel that nice hamstring stretch. If it's too much, you can raise your arms up and not have them on the floor. And back to the middle. Now we're going to roll up slowly, moving on to some knee hugs. You can also work on your balance with this since it's on one foot. Just hug your knee up to your chest. This will work on stretching our glutes, getting our hips warmed up, and other leg. We're going to do this one more time on each leg. Alright, last one. Alright, now we're going to move on to some arm strength. So the first thing we're going to do is just some lateral shoulder raises. So just arms up to the side. They can be a little bent. They don't have to be completely straight. Make sure you're contracting those shoulders on each lift. Slow and controlled on the way up and on the way down. Alright, now we're going to move on. Do some biceps. We're just going to do some bicep curls. Arms go up and down. If you want, you could do single arm. Keep that arm up. Other arm raises and that arm goes down. Just to have some concentric contraction going on there. Alright, now we're going to move on to some back. So we're just going to do some rows. Feet are going to be shoulder width apart. You're going to have your hands forward Make sure when you're doing these, your back is straight and head is in a neutral position. You're just going to bring your arms up, squeeze that back every time you go up to make sure you're really working it. Also make sure you're squeezing your core during all of these exercises. And 3, 2, and 1. Alright. Next we're going to move on to some leg work. So we're going to start with just regular lunges. For these, to work on our balance, I'm going to have you do a lunge and then lift your leg up at the top and go back, trying not to touch your foot on the floor. We're going to do about 10 of these on each leg, working on that balance, keeping that core tight. And 2, and 1. Other leg, same thing. Also during these, make sure your back knee is not touching the floor when you go back. Also making sure your knee is not going over your front toe. Alright, and 3, 2, and 1. Alright, now we're going to move on to some calf raises. For these, we're going to do it 3 different ways. So the first way is just the normal toes straight forward. We're going to do about 6 of these. Make sure you're slow and controlled all the way up, all the way down. Then you're going to have your heels touching. Do the same thing. This will just make sure you're working that whole calf muscle. Alright, and the last one, you're just going to have your toes facing each other. Same thing, slow and controlled all the way up, all the way down. Alright, now we're going to move on to stretching our abductors. So our inner thighs, you're going to go to the right, do a side lunge, go back through the middle, and to the next leg. Try not to move your feet during these, just keep them in the same place. The whole time you can go as low as you need to feel that stretch. Make sure you're keeping your core tight on this too. Working on that movement. Alright. Now we're going to move on to some good mornings. So for these, you're going to have your arms up here. It's almost like a deadlift position, but instead, you're moving your top side forward and back. Make sure you're not pushing your glutes back too far. Neutral back position and neutral head position. This is just working that erector spinae. Also, those hamstrings are working a little bit too. And 2. And 1. Alright, now we're going to move on to some adductor and abductor strength. This can also help with your balance as well. You're going to start on one foot, swing one leg in and out to work both those muscle groups. If you need to put your foot down if you're having trouble balancing, that's okay. If you want to challenge yourself, try not to put your foot down the whole time. And 2. And 1. Alright, same thing on the other side. Make sure you're keeping that core tight. It'll help you balance a little bit. If you need to put your arms out to the side, that's okay too. And 3, 2, and 1. Alright, now we're going to move on to some hamstring work. We're going to do some single leg deadlifts. So for these, you're going to start on one foot. Lift your back foot off the ground slowly. You're going to go down just like a regular deadlift and back up. Make sure you're keeping that form good the whole time. Focusing on that good back position. These are also good for working on your balance. And last one. Alright, same thing on the other leg. Again, make sure you're keeping your core tight, working on that balance. If you need to put your foot down, that's okay. If you really want to work on that balance, you can try not to touch it. And 2. And 1. Alright, we're going to move down to the floor now. We're going to be on our knees. We're just going to do some lunges. So just a regular lunge. Make sure that knee is not going over your foot. We're just stretching this back leg. Alright, and we're also going to be adding a quad stretch. So you're going to lift your back leg up with your hand. If it's not hard enough for you, you can try to lean more forward to get that good stretch in your quad. Alright, other leg, we're going to be doing the same thing. So regular lunge first. You can have your hands on the ground. You can have them up on your knee. You can have them out to the side, whatever's most comfortable for you. And then we're going to lift our back leg up again. Again, lean more forward if you need to get that good stretch. All right. Now we're going to move on to some arm and ab strength. So we're just going to be doing some regular push-ups. You can either be on your knees like this, or you can be on your toes. I'm going to do on my knees. We're going to do about 10. Try to make sure your chest is touching the floor each time you go down. If you want to work those triceps more, you can keep your elbows in. And 2. And 1. Alright, now we're going to move on to some side plank holds. You can also add dips to these if you want to really work that side ab. So your feet are going to go to this side. Hand can go on your hip. You can be on your elbow or up on your hand. Whatever is most comfortable for you. Alright, switching to the other side. Same thing. Again, you can be on your elbow or your hand. Make sure you're really working these abs, squeezing them the whole time. You're raising your hip as high as you can. Alright, and then after this, we're just going to do some regular plank holds. For these, you can either be on your elbows or on your hands, whichever is easiest for you. We're just going to hold this for about 20 seconds. Again, try to keep your glutes down, abs tight. Alright, now we're moving on to our hands and knees. We're just going to do some kickbacks. So leg is just going to go up and back down. This will just work those glutes. Make sure you're slow and controlled on the way up and on the way down. Really squeezing those glutes every time you go up. Alright, other leg. Also want to make sure your back isn't arching during these. Keeping that core tight, head neutral. 2. And 1. Alright. Moving on, we're going to be working our triceps. So you're going to get in a bridge position. Lift those glutes off the ground. You're just going to dip and go back up. You can go as far as you can. This is just working those tricep muscles. Make sure you're keeping that core tight the whole time. And 2, and 1. All right. Now we're going to move on to just some stretching. So we're going to do a seal stretch. So arms are going to be by your hips. Try to keep your legs close together. Your head can be up or neutral. Alright, now we're going to move into downward dog. Just straight into it. You can stretch out those calves a little bit, move around a little bit, or you can just stay here. Next, we're going to work on our glute stretches, hip flexors. We're going to move into Pigeon Pose. For these, you can either be on your arms or just on your elbows. Alright, and other leg. Same thing, you can do it on your arms or elbows. Just enough so you feel that stretch. Alright. Next, we're going to be moving on to a cat stretch. So this is going to stretch our upper back. We're also going to be adding some underarms. So you're going to take one arm, slide it under, and have your head go the opposite way so you can feel that stretch in your upper back. And back to the middle. Other arm, same thing, is going to go under. Keep this right arm up straight. Head on the ground. Just enough so you feel that stretch. And back to the middle. Alright, now we're going to move onto our backs. We're going to do a little core work. First, we're going to work our abductors. So we're just going to do some clam shells. You're going to lay on your side, knees bent. And you're going to lift that top leg up, really working those abductors. You can either be laying on your arm or holding it up with your hand. Alright, same thing on the other side. Make sure when you're lifting that leg up, you're really squeezing those abductors to get the full effect. And 3, 2, and 1. All right. You can stay in the same position, just move on to your back. We're going to do some windshield wipers. So your knees are just going to go to the side, back through the middle, and to the other side. This is going to stretch out our abs for our next exercises. Make sure you're going as far as you can over to get that stretch. And 2, and 1. Alright, now we're just going to move on to some regular crunches. So hands go behind your head just for support. Your heels are going to be close to your glutes. It's going to lift up and crunch. Make sure you're really contracting those abs to make sure you're working them good. Alright, and 3, 2, and 1. Alright, last ab exercise, we're going to be doing some dead bugs. So arms can be bent, legs can be bent. You're going to take your opposite elbow to opposite knee. We're going to do about 10 of these. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you can lift your head up and crunch each time. And 2, and 1. Alright, We're going to do one last stretch and then we'll be done. We're just going to be doing the child's pose. So your toes are going to go together, knees go down, arms reach out in front of you. If you want to make it a little easier, your knees can go as close together as you need them to be. We're just going to hold this for a few seconds. All right. And that completes the warm-up. Good job, guys.